Imagine waking up before sunrise, walking to the edge of a crystal-clear lake, and seeing the water's surface bubbling with thousands of fish ready to feed entire populations. This isn't a scene from fiction. It's the daily reality of millions of Asian aquaculturists who together produce over 1.2 billion fish annually through techniques that many in the West barely know. While the world debates food security and sustainability, a silent revolution is transforming Asia's aquatic landscape, redefining how we feed the planet. Asian aquaculture is not only impressive in numbers, it's a story of innovation, ancient tradition, and adaptation to a changing world. It's also the answer to a crucial question. How will we feed 10 billion people by 2050 without destroying our oceans? In China's Fujian province, Mr. Li wakes up before 4 a.m., just as his father and grandfather did. But unlike them, he doesn't head to sea on a fishing boat. Instead, he walks to a complex of tanks monitored by sensors that track water quality, oxygen levels, and even fish behavior. Using a smartphone, he adjusts parameters to optimize the growth of over 500,000 tilapia he'll raise this year. This is the face of modern Asian aquaculture, a perfect fusion of ancestral wisdom and cutting-edge technology. My grandparents took what the sea offered. Today, we create what the world needs, explains Li as he checks data on his custom app. This transition from extractive fishing to controlled cultivation represents much more than a change in profession. It symbolizes a fundamental shift in our relationship with aquatic resources. Asian aquaculture is defined by its astonishing diversity. From common carp cultivated in integrated rice fish systems in Vietnam to saltwater shrimp in Thailand or high-tech salmon farming in Japan, each country has developed unique specializations based on ecological conditions, nutritional needs, and market demands. This diversification is one of the secrets behind its massive production. 1.2 billion fish represent nearly 90% of the world's farmed seafood. On the outskirts of Bangkok, the Swanafan family turns what would be considered waste into a remarkable productive system. Their 50 tilapia tanks are organically fertilized with waste from an adjacent pig farm. The nutrient-rich water is then channeled to vegetable fields, creating a virtuous cycle where nothing is wasted. This integrated system, locally known as farm-in-farm, produces 3 food sources in a space that would traditionally yield just one. What we call waste is just a mispositioned resource, reflects Mrs. Swanafan, whose property has become a training center for new aquaculturists. Nature doesn't create waste, and neither should we. The scale of Asian aquaculture is truly astonishing. In Ha Long Bay, Vietnam, entire floating villages are dedicated exclusively to the cultivation of fish and shellfish. Seen from above, these communities form geometric patterns in the water, a constellation of cages, rafts, and platforms that house not only the farmed animals, but entire families who live quite literally above their livelihood. The industry has also adapted to space limitations. In Singapore, where land is a precious commodity, pioneering companies like Aquaspark have developed vertical systems that stack fish tanks, multiplying production per square meter. A single 8-story building can produce the equivalent of 20 hectares of conventional ponds. The secret behind this success lies not only in technology or volume, but in the philosophy behind the systems. Traditional Asian aquaculture sees fish as part of a broader ecosystem, not as an isolated product. This holistic mindset has led to methods that Westerners are only beginning to recognize as revolutionary. Still, not everything is smooth sailing. Rapid growth has brought significant challenges. Disease outbreaks devastated entire shrimp farms in Thailand in 2013. Scandals over excessive antibiotic use tarnished the industry's reputation. And competition for coastal space creates tension with other industries and conservationists. The response to these challenges, however, has been remarkably innovative. In Indonesia, scientists from Jakarta University developed an oral vaccine for fish that reduced antibiotic use by 87%. In China, advanced recirculation systems now allow 99% of water to be reused, minimizing environmental impact. What makes this blue revolution so special isn't just its impressive scale, but how it has managed to balance tradition and innovation. In many communities, techniques passed down through generations are carefully documented and enhanced with scientific data, creating a hybrid knowledge that is neither fully traditional nor purely modern. It's simply effective. The production of 1.2 billion fish doesn't happen by chance. Behind these impressive numbers lies a variety of sophisticated systems, some representing the pinnacle of aquatic engineering, others harnessing natural processes with minimal human intervention. Let's dive into the methods that are redefining food production in the 21st century. In the Mekong region of Southeast Asia, the Tongan system represents one of the oldest and yet most efficient aquaculture methods. Here, farmers like Feng Ti Mai raise up to 7 different species in the same pond: grass carp to control vegetation, silver carp to filter phytoplankton, common carp to consume bottom debris, tilapia to control mosquitoes, among others. Each species occupies a specific ecological niche, creating a balanced microcosm that requires minimal external input. Our ancestors understood ecology before the word even existed, Mai explains, as she throws a homemade mix of agricultural byproducts to her fish. They knew that diversity creates stability. The Tongan system yields up to 15 tons of fish per hectare annually, with minimal environmental impact and low operational costs. It's a perfect example of how traditional knowledge can achieve results that expensive technology often cannot. In contrast to this ancestral approach, offshore farms in Kagoshima, Japan, represent aquaculture's high-tech future. Asahi Seafoods operates remotely controlled submersible cages positioned in deep waters miles from the coast. Sensors constantly monitor parameters such as dissolved oxygen, temperature, and fish behavior, transmitting data via satellite to a central control hub. Our goal is to create the perfect environment for every stage of the fish's development, explains Dr. Takahashi, Asahi's technical director. If we detect an approaching storm, we can submerge the cages to 30 meters within minutes. If water quality starts to deteriorate, we automatically adjust position or activate supplemental oxygen systems. This level of control enables much higher stocking densities while maintaining excellent fish health and quality. But the technology comes at a cost. Each unit costs approximately $2 million to implement. Between these extremes of tradition and cutting-edge technology, there are pragmatic innovations that combine the best of both worlds. In Jiangsu Province, China, extensive polyculture systems in reservoirs have been transformed through the selective addition of affordable technology. Solar-powered aerators maintain ideal oxygen levels. Automatic feeders dispense precise amounts of food, reducing waste. Low-cost sensors alert farmers via SMS when crucial parameters fall outside acceptable ranges. We don't need to reinvent what already works, says Zhang Wei, director of the local aquaculture cooperative. We just need to refine it, step by step, adapting technologies that make economic sense for our reality. This pragmatic approach has resulted in productivity increases of up to 60% without expanding cultivated area, demonstrating how incremental improvements can have major impacts when scaled. One of the most impressive developments is occurring at the intersection of aquaculture and agriculture, aquaponics systems. On the outskirts of Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, GreenTech Farms has developed a complex where nutrient-rich water from tilapia tanks irrigates and fertilizes over 200 species of hydroponically grown vegetables. Each kilogram of fish we produce provides enough nutrients to grow approximately 8 kilograms of vegetables, explains Sarah Mahmood, the agricultural engineer responsible for the system. We've completely eliminated the need for synthetic fertilizers in our plant production while naturally purifying the water for the fish. The closed-loop system uses 95% less water than conventional methods and utilizes vertical space, producing about 120,000 fish and 50 tons of vegetables annually in just half a hectare. Mahmoud notes that they initially faced consumer resistance, but after proving the superior quality of their products, they now have a waiting list. Recirculating aquaculture systems, RAS, represent another crucial advancement. On the Indonesian island of Sulawesi, Oceans Prime has built the largest RAS facility in Southeast Asia, where the same water is continuously filtered, treated, and reused. Beneficial bacteria in biofilters convert toxic fish waste into harmless nutrients, while mechanical filters and UV sterilizers eliminate pathogens. Our system uses less than 1% of the water needed in conventional methods, explains Dr. Sutanto, the company's technical director. In a region prone to droughts, this means we can operate consistently, regardless of climate conditions. RAS also offers unprecedented control over disease, one of the biggest challenges in modern aquaculture. By fully isolating production from the external environment, it virtually eliminates the risk of cross-contamination with wild populations or other farms. Alongside physical system advances, the genetic revolution has transformed productivity. Taiwan's Aquatic Genetics Research Center has developed tilapia strains that grow 40% faster than conventional varieties, while consuming 25% less feed. It's important to note that these improvements were achieved through traditional selective breeding, not genetic modification, preserving consumer acceptance in markets sensitive to GMOs. Nature already holds all the genetic diversity we need, explains Dr. Lin Mei Chu, the program's lead geneticist. Our job is to systematically identify the most desirable traits and combine them in ways that benefit both producers and consumers. Nutrition has also evolved dramatically. Companies like Blue Feeds, based in Bangkok, have developed specialized feeds that replace traditional fish meal made from wild fish with sustainable alternatives such as insects, microalgae, and processed agricultural byproducts. To truly understand the Asian aquaculture revolution, we must look beyond the impressive numbers and innovative technologies. The real transformative power of this industry lies in human stories, in lives reshaped, communities revitalized, and new social paradigms that have emerged alongside the rise of this form of food production. On the steep slopes of Yunnan in southwest China, Song Min vividly remembers the day her village first received electricity in 2007. It was like the world changed overnight, she recalls. But what truly transformed our destiny were the fish ponds. The local government had launched a program encouraging families to convert marginal land, unsuitable for traditional agriculture, into carp and tilapia ponds. We were once considered one of the poorest districts in the province. In 10 years, we became food exporters, with our children attending universities, explains Song, now president of the local cooperative that includes over 200 farming families. Average incomes increased six-fold, enabling investments in infrastructure and education that once seemed impossible. This narrative of economic transformation is echoed across countless rural communities in Asia. In Bangladesh, where seasonal flooding traditionally limited agriculture, floating cage systems turned this vulnerability into a competitive advantage. During the monsoon season, when fields are submerged, families like Abdul Rahman's deploy simple bamboo and net structures, raising pangasius and tilapia in temporarily flooded areas. We used to fear the rainy season, Rahman recalls. Now we look forward to it. What used to be our season of scarcity has become our most profitable time of year. The system created a new income stream just when traditional options became unviable, stabilizing rural economies previously at the mercy of unpredictable climate cycles. The impact of modern aquaculture on gender dynamics also deserves attention. In cultures where women face traditional barriers to working outside the home, small-scale aquaculture has offered a path to economic empowerment. In Thailand's Samut Prakan province, the Women's Aquaculture Association brings together over 500 members operating family-run shrimp farms. Before, we were entirely dependent on the men who went out to fish, explains Sunisa Tanyaset, founder of the association. When fish stocks began to collapse, many families faced extreme hardship. Aquaculture allowed us not just to survive, but to thrive, using land near our homes. The association expanded into processing and direct marketing, cutting out middlemen and increasing profit margins. The most important thing was the shift in mindset, Sunisa observes. When we earn our own income, our voices in family and community decisions gain a weight we never had before. This socioeconomic transformation is also reflected in education. In India's Kerala state, the Marine Research Institute launched an innovative program integrating aquaculture into school curricula. Coastal schools maintain experimental ponds where students learn biology, chemistry, math, and entrepreneurship through practical applications. We saw many young people dropping out because they didn't see relevance in their education, explains Professor Kurian, the program's coordinator. By linking formal education to tangible economic opportunities, we've increased school retention by 62% in participating communities. Graduates often go on to launch their own aquaculture businesses or pursue higher education in specialized universities, creating a virtuous cycle of local development. We're growing more than just fish, Kurian smiles. We're cultivating a new generation of rural leaders with scientific minds and entrepreneurial vision. Aquaculture has also catalyzed significant cultural transformations. In regions where artisanal fishers faced the steady decline of natural stocks, transitioning to aquaculture represented not just an occupational shift, but a profound reorientation of identity. In Vietnam's Gulf of Tonkin, Nguyen Van True spent 30 years as a fisherman. At our peak, we could fill the boat in a few hours, he recalls. When my sons started joining me, we'd spend days catching just a fraction of that. The decision to convert his boat into a farming platform was difficult. It felt like abandoning my ancestors' legacy, he confesses. Today, Nguyen operates one of the region's largest marine farms, employing 15 people, including former fishermen. I learned that preserving tradition doesn't mean repeating exactly what our parents did, he reflects. It means honoring their values, supporting families, respecting the sea, building community, even as the methods evolve. This reconciliation between tradition and innovation has allowed communities to preserve their maritime identity even as specific practices became unsustainable. The impressive story of Asian aquaculture, which today feeds billions with its 1.2 billion farmed fish produced annually, would not be complete without an honest look at the challenges it has faced and the innovative solutions shaping its future. Like any productive revolution, exponential growth has brought with it significant problems that demand creative responses and a commitment to continuous improvement. One of the most pressing concerns is environmental impact. The early booms of shrimp farming in the 1980s and 90s left deep scars on the coastal ecosystems of Thailand, Vietnam, and Indonesia. Vast areas of mangroves were converted into ponds, destroying natural marine nurseries and removing crucial barriers against erosion and storms. We learned the hard way that destroying ecosystems to produce food is contradictory and self-destructive, admits Somchai Wongpakdi, a veteran of Thailand's shrimp industry. When the mangroves disappeared, we lost not only biodiversity, but also our first line of defense against natural disasters and pollution. The industry's response illustrates how crises can catalyze positive transformations. In Thailand's Trat province, the Kung Krabayen Bay Restoration Program demonstrates a remarkable reversal of this trend. Farmers who once converted mangroves now actively participate in their restoration, while adopting farming systems that minimize waste and even benefit the surrounding ecosystems. We implemented a model where each farmer must restore and maintain a mangrove area proportional to the size of their farm, explains Dr. Malawan, program coordinator. At first, there was resistance, But when producers saw improvements in water quality and increased wild catches in adjacent areas, the program gained enthusiastic support. This model of production integrated with conservation has rapidly spread with local adaptations, transforming the relationship between aquaculture and natural ecosystems from antagonistic to symbiotic in many regions. Another critical challenge has been disease control. The Asian shrimp industry suffered catastrophic losses from white spot syndrome in the 1990s and more recently from early mortality syndrome, EMS, which wiped out entire harvests in Thailand and China. When EMS hit our region in 2013, we lost 80% of production within weeks, recalls Liu Feng, a producer from China's Hainan province. Many abandoned the activity altogether. The response was a complete overhaul of biosecurity and health management practices. The Asian Aquatic Health Consortium, formed after the crisis, developed protocols that radically transformed the sector. We abandoned the mindset of maximizing production at any cost and adopted a long-term resilience approach, explains Dr. Pham Thu Hong, a Vietnamese microbiologist who helped develop the new protocols. We reduced stocking densities, implemented fallow periods between cycles, and created isolation zones between farms. Perhaps most significant was the development of managed microbiome systems, where beneficial microbial populations are deliberately introduced and maintained in farming environments, creating a natural barrier against pathogens. It may seem counterintuitive for those trained to see sterility as ideal, notes Dr. Hang, but fostering a diverse and balanced microbial ecosystem has proven far more effective than trying to eliminate all microbes, a battle we can never win. These ecological approaches have reduced antibiotic use by 85% across the sector, alleviating concerns over antimicrobial resistance and chemical residues. Input sustainability poses another major challenge. Traditionally, many carnivorous farmed species depended on feeds made from fish meal and fish oil derived from wild fisheries, essentially turning wild fish into farmed fish, an equation unsustainable at a global scale. The search for alternatives has led to remarkable innovations. At the Aquatic Nutrition Laboratory of Qingdao University, China, researchers have developed single-cell proteins produced by microorganisms that feed on agricultural waste. Our process converts low-value byproducts like rice straw and sugarcane bagasse into high-quality protein with a better nutritional profile than conventional fish meal, explains Dr. Zhao Lin, the lead researcher. We are literally turning waste into strategic resources. Meanwhile, companies like Singapore Protein Technologies have pioneered the industrial production of insects specifically for aquaculture nutrition. Their vertical farming facilities cultivate black soldier fly larvae on urban organic waste, closing two loops simultaneously: waste management and sustainable protein production. A single facility processes 200 tons of organic waste daily, producing 40 tons of insect protein, enough to completely replace fish meal in feed for several farmed species, states Chen Wei, the company's CEO. These innovations are rapidly decarbonizing aquaculture and decoupling it from extractive fisheries, a crucial step toward true sustainability. Equity in sector development has also gained increasing attention. While large, vertically integrated conglomerates expand across Asia, small producers often struggle to compete or adopt advanced technologies. Acknowledging this challenge, the Asian Family Aquaculture Network developed an innovative cooperative model, enabling small producers to access technology, certifications, and premium markets previously out of reach. Instead of competing with large corporations at their own game, we created a parallel system that values the unique attributes of small-scale production: diversity, local knowledge, artisanal management, explains Anwar Rahman, the network's coordinator in Bangladesh. The model includes digital platforms that connect producers directly with urban consumers willing to pay premium prices for products with traceability and personal stories. Our members don't just sell fish, they sell trust, tradition, and connection to food, says Rahman. Looking ahead, Asian aquaculture faces both unprecedented challenges and transformative opportunities. Climate change is already impacting operations in vulnerable regions, with rising water temperatures, extreme weather events, and ocean acidification threatening established systems. In response, researchers at the Malaysian Institute of Aquatic Genomics are developing strains adapted to projected future conditions. We're essentially accelerating natural evolution through targeted breeding programs, explains Dr. Fatima Zubairi. Our heat-tolerant tilapia can thrive in water temperatures up to 4 degrees Celsius above the limits of conventional varieties. At the same time, digitalization and automation are advancing rapidly. In China's Fujian province, the company Aquaculture has deployed Asia's first fully automated aquaculture system, where artificial intelligence continuously analyzes farming parameters and fish behavior, adjusting conditions without human intervention. The system is constantly learning, identifying patterns that would take humans decades to recognize, says Li Jianping, the company's CTO. After 3 years of operation, our productivity exceeds comparable traditionally managed facilities by 32% with lower resource use. Initially limited to large-scale operations, these technologies are being democratized through technology-as-a-service models that allow smallholders to access tools based on performance-based payments, not prohibitive upfront costs. Perhaps the most promising development is the evolution of integrated multi-trophic aquaculture, IMTA systems, where multiple species from different trophic levels are farmed together, creating mini ecosystems that maximize efficiency and minimize impact. In China's Sangli Bay, the world's largest IMTA system combines cage-farmed fish with mussels that filter organic particles, seaweed that absorbs dissolved nutrients, and sea cucumbers that process sediment waste. Each component not only mitigates potential negative impacts of the others, but also serves as an additional revenue source. IMTA represents the future of aquaculture not just because it's more sustainable, though it clearly is, but because it's more profitable, says Dr. Yang Fei, an oceanographer studying the system. Producers adopt it because it makes economic sense, with sustainability following as a natural consequence. This alignment of economic and ecological imperatives may be the greatest achievement of the Asian aquaculture revolution. While previous development models often pitted growth against preservation, this new generation of systems proves that it is possible and essential to integrate productivity, environmental resilience, and social inclusion into a single equation. The revolution in Asian aquaculture is not merely a story of technological innovation or increased yields. It is a multifaceted portrait of human adaptation, where entire communities are reinventing their relationship with nature, the economy, and each other. By blending science, tradition, and social justice, this movement is sketching the blueprint for a food future that not only sustains the planet, but also transforms it. If the 21st century is in search of models capable of feeding billions without destroying the ecological foundations of life, few examples offer as many inspiring lessons as the ongoing journey of Asian aquaculture. It reminds us that true progress occurs not simply when we produce more, but when we learn to produce better, with intelligence, balance, and humanity.